that are new to the stream, this is the weekly CADA Bootcamp, and I'll be your host. My name is Ola, and I coach. I'm a student here at CADA in my fourth semester, and I'll be guiding you guys through 1.5 hours of each week is a different subject, and the subject of this week is sculpting. So we'll be having fun with that. You guys can't hear me? Can you guys hear me now? How's the volume? Hello? Is it working? Much better? Okay, great. Okay, sorry about that. Someone used the setup today and I guess they did not change things back. But I'm glad we got it fixed. Okay, so going back to what I was saying, if this is your first time here, this is the CADA Bootcamp. And I'll be your instructor for today. My name is Onua and I am on the fourth semester of the school, CADA. And I'll be taking you through 1.5 hours of a different 3D subject each week. But this will be the last week, so I guess today I'll take you through a subject, and today's subject is gonna be sculpting. Alright, so yeah, for the people that don't know, and for the people that are new, I've been doing these boot camps for a while, and today is gonna be my last one, sadly. But Oliver will be taking over, and I'm sure you guys are in good hands with him. So we'll do our best to have an amazing stream today, and then I'll close it off. Okay, so as usual, I'll introduce people. I have some ground rules here in the stream, and that is any and all questions are more than welcome because we're doing it live. And that's kind of the purpose of doing it live, so I can help all of you out. I'll be fine, people. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Oliver will be a great host. I'm sure of it. He's already done some stuff and it looks good. So, yeah, so as I was saying, all questions are more than welcome. I like to interact with the chat. So, I'll usually do stuff like, if you've been here on the stream before, put your hand up in the chat. So, I've been here on the stream before, so I'll put my hand up. And if you have, feel free to put your hand up. And if you're completely new to the stream, hit me with a blue emoji saying I'm completely new. Let's see if there's any new people or... Okay, some familiar faces. It's nice to see you all again. Okay, we got some new people too. All right. Okay, people. Let's get into it slowly then. I see we got a couple new faces. That's completely okay. If you've never used Blender before, that's also completely okay. So things will go a little bit slow here in the beginning, but that's alright. Gotta have everybody sort of up to the same level where they can use the software. Whoop. Okay, so if you've downloaded Blender, you should be met with something that kind of looks like this. Alright. So boot it up, get it ready. I hope all of you already have it booted up and running. So one more time, if you have it ready, if you're ready to go for the last bootcamp that I'll be hosting, hit me with a hand up in the chat and I'll get into it. So let me know if you had any problems launching the software, if you're all ready. I don't want to lose anyone right away. Boot it up, get in there, get ready. Okay. Alright, so first of all, what you see in front of you here is Blender. It's an amazing software. It's probably one of my favorite 3D softwares, if not my favorite. It is kind of like the Swiss army knife of 3D. You can do so many things with it. Today we're going to be doing sculpting. But I'll still give a little basic introduction of what you're seeing on screen, just so you get a little bit familiar with the software. So this main view window here is what we call the viewport. Okay, it's basically your little software, it's your little playground for whatever you get to do in 3D, and in the software, this is where you see the things. Okay? And to look around here, you can hold down middle click, and you can see my hotkeys down in the bottom left corner. And you can hold down shift and then click middle click to pan around. So middle click to orbit, shift middle mouse to pan around. If you want to zoom in and out, you can use the scroll wheel. Or hold down control and then click the middle mouse. Okay. You have your basic tools out on the left, like the move, rotate, and scale and so on. Alright, and you can left click stuff to highlight it or to select it. And if you accidentally do something and you want to undo it, you can hit Control Z. Like most softwares, creative softwares, they all share that hotkey. And we do use that a lot. Control Z. Alright, so other than that, you have your outliner on the top right. So this is basically just a list of all the stuff inside your scene. So if you ever lose something, you can find it by typing it in here. You can click it. Okay. And while you're playing around in your viewport, if you ever get lost, you can click the home key on your keyboard to come back to your scene or whatever is in. You can also click here, view, and then frame all or frame selected. So let's say you wanted to find the camera. You can click the camera, click view, and then click frame select. It'll go straight to the camera. Alright, so other than that, underneath the outliner that we have up here, we have the properties panel. So this one is context sensitive, which means it will change based on whatever it is that you have selected in the scene. So if I select my light bulb, I'll get options to change my lighting settings in here. If I select my cube, I'll get options to change my cube and my camera, so on and so forth. Alright, let's get into this fun stuff a little bit. For today's concept, usually we pick out a concept for each stream. We sculpt it out, and then at the end of the stream we will share it on the Discord. So I recommend, if this is your first time joining, definitely join the Discord as well, because we go ahead and we share all the stuff that we make in here. Okay, so if we go to the 3D Bootcamp chat, you guys can see stuff that people have made and we post it. So that's kind of the goal for the stream. We'll make something together for 1.5 hours and then we'll post it in here. So I'll give you all a link, and I do recommend you all joining it, because it's nice to have sort of a little community to share stuff with. Alright. But for today's concept, I'm kind of going full circle and going back to where I started with these streams. So we are doing a piece of jewelry. Okay, and I'll keep it pretty loose for the stream. I want people to get creative. I want them to get funky. I want you all to kind of do your own thing a little bit, but you're also welcome to copy what I'm doing. I'll just sort of just be teaching you all the tools. But I think we should make some kind of medallion as a little medal for completing all the boot camps. So you guys can search for fantasy medallion is what I search for here, but it can give you some inspiration. But I'll do some kind of jewelry piece to sort of commemorate the fact that we all got through the boot camps together, right? So it should be a fun topic for today. You can go very difficult with it, you can go very simple with it. It's kind of open for whatever it is that y'all feel like. So I'll open up my PureRef here and I'll probably drag in a couple references. Maybe this one, that one, it's very wolf themed already. Maybe this one. So let's just get creative with it. Kind of like the dragon stuff. Right. Alright, there we go. Should be a cool subject for today. So while I'm talking, you guys can try to find some inspirations for your own little medallion. Okay, I'll put this up here. Okay, so like I was saying before, there's a lot of stuff you can do inside Blender. For today, we're just gonna be doing sculpting. Okay, so first of all, I sort of need to introduce a little bit about how meshes work and sculpting work in 3D, because once you kind of get that, it becomes very similar to how you would sculpt in real life, right? You just start adding clay and pulling clay away and all that. But first of all, we need to understand that in 3D, everything is made up of corners or points, okay? So if we have a cube here, we have 4 corners at the top, and we can move these corners around, okay? but we can't move something around that does not have a point on it. Alright, so if I wanted to add a hat to this cube in the middle or move the center up, I can't do that because there's no point to click. Okay, so basically I need to add more points if I wanna move this up. Now if I wanted to do something here, I can't do that. I need to add more points yet again. Okay, so the more detail we want to go, the more points we have to add. Alright, and so this process is a lot simpler for sculpting because it kind of does it for us. But if we go into the sculpting tab up here at the top, you see you have different tabs. I'll click the sculpting tab. We'll go into this view here. Maybe I should move my medallions down here. Personally, I like to, the first thing I do is I turn on the floor. So you can click the little arrow up here for the viewport overlays and then turn on the floor. Okay. But if we try to grab a piece of this cube and move it, you'll see that we can only move the points that we have. Okay. So before we can actually do anything, we have to do what's called remeshing. And there's a little button for it up here. And once we click remesh, if we go, we can see that it's basically just added a bunch of points to our cube. And now we can pull it up and out in a more smooth fashion. Kind of behaves the way we expect it to. And this is like the most dry thing we'll do on the stream, but it's just important that you all sort of understand the very foundation of how 3D meshes work and all that if you've never used Blender before. But once you get this, we can move on. So that's it basically, right? And if you want to add some more detail, you gotta lower the voxel size, okay? So 0.05 is half of 0.1. So it will add twice the density of points basically, okay? Now we can add more detail here. That went very fast, that's okay. So let's go through the basic stuff again. So you all will have a cube here. You can add different types of meshes here in the add menu. So we cannot sculpt on this because we don't have enough corners to move around. Okay. So if we go remesh, so there's a remesh button up in the top right. It basically just allows us to fluently add more points to whatever surface we're sculpting on. And now we actually can move around these points and add more detail to our model. So you just use the remesh up here, the button, and you click remesh. Now the model will have a little bit of a jagged look. So if you don't have this remesh option, you gotta go to sculpting tab. If we go back to the layout, we'll see that our model has a bit of a faceted look. To get rid of that, we can just right click and click shade smooth, okay? It'll try to smooth the lighting as best as it can. Now if we want even smoother results, we just gotta lower the voxel size of our remesh. So if we do 0.03, we'll see that we have a lot of points now. And now we can actually start using some of the tools that we see out here. So I think for most of you all, you will have the tools at the bottom. On the new Blender version, they should be lined at the bottom. You can go in here, so if I take the basic draw tool, I can just left click on my surface and it will sort of draw a line on it. Okay. So at this point, I'll do my thing and ask the chat, are you all at this point where you've been able to get your mesh remeshed and you can sort of draw stuff on the surface and it looks somewhat smooth? We could smooth this out even more. So if you have done that, put your hand up in the chat. So I'm at that point. So I'll put my hand up in the chat, and then I'll start explaining the tools a little bit more. So if you're with me so far, let me know. And if you're not, let me know what went wrong, and if I can help. If something went too fast, let me know. I hope that helped, Waldy. You just gotta go into sculpt mode, and then click the remesh button. Okay, that's good. Is there anyone that got lost on the way? I'll assume that people are sort of on track if you guys are not writing in the chat. But please do let me know if something went too fast. It is more than okay. I promise you all, if you have a question or if something went too fast, there's probably a couple other people in the chat in the same situation. So by asking, you're just doing everybody a favor. You're increasing the quality of the stream and everything. So just don't feel scared to ask questions and all that. But I'll go through the tools a little bit now. So, well, the best voxel size depends on what you're doing. So if I'm making big changes, let's say I want to change the shape of this completely, it might be a little bit difficult with a low voxel size because there's a lot of detail in there. But then I can lower the voxel size, and then I can do big changes, smooth it out, or increase the voxel size, and then I can go to a lower size again, and then add my details. So I'll get into all of that, we'll get to it, but for now, just pick any voxel size, it'll be fine. It's not in the same place, you might still be in the layout mode. You have to go to the sculpting mode. You can also start sculpting from the layout mode. All you gotta do is click up here. There's a drop down of the different modes inside Blender. You can pick the sculpt mode. But you can also go to the sculpting tab up here. So you might have to click the sculpt mode right here. Okay, I hope that helped. Yes. Okay, so with the basic draw brush, you might think that all we can do is just draw, but there's actually a couple more features. So if you hold down Control, you can carve into the mesh. Okay, so this is super useful, and this is something that's basically a feature with all the brushes. If you hold down Control, it will kind of do the opposite of what it does usually. So I'm just clicking left click to go out, and then Control to go in, and I can sort of build up some kind of volume like that. If I add like a little detail, or if something looks weird on the surface, I can smooth it out by holding down Shift, and I'll smooth that surface out. So I can get rid of some detail. Now it's not fantastic to overuse this because you'll kind of ruin all the detail of your model and it'll be like a soft gummy mess, but it is useful to use it sometimes. So you saw I had some artifacting here. I can just go ahead with a big brush, hold down Shift and smooth it. And to make your brush big or small, you just click F to increase or decrease the brush size. You also have the settings up here in the top right, if you're not much of a hotkey person. Okay, what else do we have? We have some other tools. Draw Sharp, y'all will probably have your tools at the bottom, which is fine. So Draw Sharp is just the same, but it kind of goes in by default, and then you can hold down Control to go out. Then you have the clay and the clay strips. So the clay strips will keep building on top of each other. You can kind of build a lot of volume very quickly with that. Hold down Control to go inwards. And the normal clay brush, it won't keep going on top of each other. It will just kind of layer as one strip, so you have to keep clicking it if you want to go on top. Okay, and then other than that, we have the inflate brush. It kind of does what the name suggests, it just inflates a lot. Now if you get to the point where your mesh starts to look very wonky, it's probably because you're pushing the limits of how many points that you have available, or the points got kind of reshuffled in a strange way. You see we have some weird artifacting here. So let's say I wanted to add a horn to this cube, like a horn. I wouldn't be able to because what's going on with the points. So what we can do is we can just hit the remesh button again, and now you see it's basically remeshed our mesh in a very even fashion. So we can drag up from here, and now we'll start to stretch the points, and we can hit remesh again, and now all the points are distributed evenly, right? So that's kind of how we can work in 3D. So that's basically it for the basic tools. Like the move tool, the grab tools, or it's called, is super useful, so don't forget about that one. It's just good to get like your overall shape very quickly. Alright, so let's get into sculpting. Like you don't need much more than that to kind of get started. You could also try the flatten brush out, or the scrape one. These ones are also very useful if you need some kind of faceted surface. So if your model looks like this, you gotta go out to the object mode or to the layout mode, left click your model, right click, and then click shade smooth. Okay. If it's still doing that, you're probably just gonna hold down shift and smooth your model that way. Now if you have a drawing tablet, that's very useful. I'll probably be using mine a little bit today. So all you need to do to navigate with this one is you gotta use your pen button instead of your middle mouse. So the hotkeys are exactly the same. Alright, so I'll start over because I kind of massacred this cube. So I'll go back to the layout and I'll just click delete to delete it. And now I'll add a UV sphere because I want to start just carving this medallion out of nothing but just a sphere. I think that'll be fun. I'll just click right click and shade smooth. Alright people, are you all with me and ready to get started on your own medallion? If you are, hand up in the chat. You guys know how it goes. So I am so ready. Hand up and I'll get into it. So find your inspirations, prepare your mind, get some ideas ready. Okay. I hope it's gonna go well. Yeah, I hope it's gonna go well too. Okay, so if you click your numpad, you can go into a side view. You can also click these axes up here. So I'll just click one to go into a side view. It kind of goes like this. So I'll just click the y-axis. Now I can use what's called the line project. So I haven't used this before on any of the other streams, but you can just use it here. It's basically just gonna cut off the place that has the fading or the gradient. So we can kind of cut off the top and the bottom to start our medallion to get a little bit of a cheese shape. You can make this thick or thin, you know, it's kind of up to you. You can also click numpad 1 to go into the side view. So, just depends on where you started from, which side kind of gets cut off. So it's called line project. You guys probably have it down here somewhere or something similar. And you know, if you don't want to use that, there's so many ways to do the same thing when it comes to sculpting. You can also just go ahead and scrape away from the top here. Might have to add a little bit more geometry to do that really. You can grab, you can just move it down, and then eventually you can get the right shape. But I think the easiest way to start right now is just go ahead and use the line project. Okay, there we go. And now, because I don't have a lot of points to work with, I'll go ahead and remesh my model. So maybe I'll start with 0.03. I think that's fine. And now I can go in here and I can smooth. I can pick a brush. So if I feel like I'm smoothing too much, I can also go ahead and pick the actual smooth brush. It's here. And I can lower the strength of that. Can I share the interface theme? I think I can. I mean, it should just be one of these. So if you go into edit, preferences, themes, it should just be one of these. I can't exactly remember which one it is. Alright, we can also turn on some symmetry if we want to begin with. There's the X symmetry. So if I start pulling something here or smoothing something here, it'll smooth on both sides. For now we can actually turn on both the X symmetry and the Y symmetry. So now if I pull out something here, I'll do it on all sides. And I can go ahead and smooth. It'll just make our life a little bit easier. I feel like I need more points to start working, so I'll lower my remesh all the way down to 0.01. You kind of just have to feel it. Once you start working, it'll become a little bit intuitive how much you need. So I'll go ahead here and think about my design. Maybe I'll start out with the scrape brush, and it's just about being creative, you know, kind of get some ideas in. Oops. So sometimes it could be a little bit hard to use the tablet. You just gotta get used to it a little bit. Oops. Why does it do that? There we go. So I'll go in with the scrape brush here and I'll kind of start carving out like a little trim for it. I think that would be cool. I could have even done that with the Z symmetry, so it would happen underneath too. But that's fine for now. Okay, and then I'll take my clay strips brush and I'll start building some volume on here. So for now I won't worry too much about the fact that it looks a little bit jagged, because I can always go back in and smooth it afterwards and work it in, okay? So right now I'm just worried about the major sort of the design of it, and then I'll figure out how to smooth it and all that a little bit later. So I'll add this kind of trim to it. And then I can hold down shift here. Oh, what am I talking about? Sorry, I can hold down control and then I can actually carve in as well. So now we kind of have this medallion with a little bit of a trim on it. And now we gotta think about some kind of design for it, right? So I wonder what we can do. I think I'm gonna keep it quite abstract for today, because I want people to get a little bit creative and come up with their own stuff. So I'll just sort of sketch on the surface and see if I can come up with something that's kind of cool. Not gonna be too worried about making something specific for today, because you know, it's easier to get introduced to a software if you're just kind of free flowing a little bit and just doing your own thing. Okay. You can also change the way your surface looks by going up here. Viewport shading, you can click the little arrow, and then you can change to a different type of matte cap. You can also go to the studio. There's like a metallic one in here, and there's a bunch of cool ones. Okay, and if you don't like it, you can just go ahead and you can smooth it out. If it doesn't smooth out properly, it's probably because you're working in a too high voxel size, so you can go or a too low voxel size, sorry. You can go up a little bit in voxel size to get rid of some of the detail. And click remesh. Now that might have been a little bit too extreme here. Yes, you can undo with Control Z. Okay, so I'm kind of starting fresh because that idea, like, I liked it, but the scale wasn't quite right. So I'll work a little bit with the scale this time. So I'll go in again with my clay strips here, and then I'll go to a lower voxel size. Again, so smooth it out. And then I'll start sketching one more time. I think it would be cool to have some kind of detailing on the border. Maybe these things get larger and larger. Okay, just gotta figure out some kind of design that you do like. Also, you don't want to like over detail stuff, which is kind of the trap that I'm falling in now. Alright. So use the flatten brush to just give it some kind of structure here. What do I want for the motive? I think I'm kind of noodling here, but I need to figure out some kind of main motive that would make this really cool. I'm going with my move brush and move stuff around a little bit here. so another thing you can also do, if you feel so inclined, is you can add multiple meshes. So let's say, for example, we wanted something for the back of it. We can go ahead and add another UV sphere. So just click the Add menu, Mesh, UV sphere. Right click, Shade Smooth. Now go into the sculpt mode with this one, and we can move this around independently. So I'm thinking maybe some kind of leafy thing behind, I'm not really sure. So we can go ahead and remesh it. That's kind of how you work. Just pull stuff in when you need it. And then whenever we want to later, we can always merge these objects together if we feel like it. So we could go ahead and we could go back to the layout, for example, here. So you can use the layout and the sculpt mode together. I can add a text object and I can start writing stuff. So if you click tab or go into edit mode on your text object, so to add the text object, sorry that went a little bit fast, you go to add text and you can write stuff. So I can write Bootcamp remeshing looks kind of spiky after grabbing. Then you gotta lower your voxel size on the remesh. Okay, so you guys don't have to do the text thing, I'm just doing it because I think it's cool. So convert this to a mesh and extrude it, so this will be hard if you haven't done the modeling stream before. Okay, so just adding a little bit of decoration in the middle, because this is my last stream. So I'll add something like this. Camp. Text object, and then I'll do, I think we went from 2024, so 24 to 25. Convert to mesh. And you guys might not be able to follow along exactly if you haven't done this before, but this is, I guess, can show you guys how much stuff you can actually do with Blender, because it's used for both sculpting and modeling, and then you can start using all those things together once you get really into it. Down here. Can scale it down. Wait, did I turn it upside down? I think I might have. Oh. here. I'll try to sculpt this into some kind of leaf. I don't know how well it will be, but I mean, we can just try our best. So smooth it out, and then I'll just grab it into the right shape. Use the inflate and deflate brush to give it like thickness. So if you hold down control, you'll take away thickness. Maybe we can go in with the draw sharp brush here to kind of give it that leafy feel. For the modeling folks, I just moved the origin. I can actually move it over here instead. There we go, so it's a little bit easier to control this leaf. Let's go from above. Copy it around. Scale this down. And remember to save, everybody, so save, don't forget that. I'm going to sculpting. I think I need to probably need to make it a little bit thinner or something like that. Or what can I do? What can I do to make this cooler? Yeah, I'll start by making it a little bit thinner. I'll do that later. Okay, let's just work in these details a little bit better so they don't look so janky. Okay, so good questions. How did you increase the height of the text? So if I add a text object here, so this is not actually a mesh, so we gotta click F3 and then search for convert to mesh. So now we have these points. If you click edit mode, then click A to select all of the points, and then click extrude. On the left side you have your tool called extrude, and then you can increase the height of them like that. If you want to arch them, the way I would do it right now, if you want to be fast about it, is add a lattice. So I don't know how much experience you have with Blender, but this might be a little complicated depending on how experienced you are. But if you add a lattice, you can add a lattice modifier to your text. Mine says tease. Okay, you can select your lattice here. Now on your lattice you can add points. And if this is making no sense at all, I wouldn't worry too much about it, because This would be one of those things that are a little bit complicated, I would imagine. And so you'll get artifacts, and that's why we need to go in, and we can actually use the remesh feature to help with some of those artifacts. Now we can't do this perfectly unless we retopo, so okay, we can go a little bit high here, and then make sure to shade smooth. And now we can actually curve it in any way we want. We can also use a curve or like a deform modifier. That will still hold up somewhat. These, you can rotate these as well. Yeah, if you want like a real nice curvature, you would have to use a different kind of modifier, like a deformation one or something. Hope that helps. Alright, back to this. Alright, let's try to make this nice a little bit. Just gonna reinforce these shapes a little bit. You know, it's pretty abstract. It doesn't have to be something specific. Kind of cool. So maybe I'll go back and sort of reinforce that. So to mirror your brush, there's these settings up here called symmetry. You have your X and your Y symmetry, you can use both of them. No worries, you got it. And if there's anyone else with a question, don't be scared to ask. I'm here to help. Right now I'm just noodling anyways. anything. You can make whatever pattern you feel like. It does not have to be a copy of what I'm doing here. Okay. Try the flatten brush too, or the scrape brush. It can give you kind of cool results. If you need to add more points to it, you go to remesh and then you lower the voxel size and then you click remesh. If you've already done that and it still feels jagged, it might just be because you need to smooth it. But if you actually need more points, you just gotta lower your voxel size in the remesher. Again, where you do that is right up here, top right, remesh, and then lower the number. You lower the number, the more points you'll get. That helps. Try to cut off some of the bottom here. Alright. Go ahead and remesh the text here just so I can do some stuff with it, so it's not so sharp. How y'all doing? Are you able to work on your own thing? Alright, so let's do a head count in the chat. If you're doing fine, if you're surviving and you're working on your own medallion, hand up in the chat. If you're a little bit stuck or something, just let me know and I'll help you all out. So I hope the concept of today is making sense. You just kind of goof around a little bit, do whatever you kind of feel like, and then hopefully something will come out of it. Alright, great. So if you wanna quickly switch to another object in the sculpt mode, you can click Alt Q to go to that object. Hope it rains in the weekend so you can stay in and work on your thing. Nothing beats a rainy day when you're really absorbed by whatever you're doing on the PC. I kind of get that. So right now I'm just adding a little bit of a human touch to these letters so they don't feel so perfect, but kind of make it feel more like they belong in the sculpted medallion here. Back in and try to clean this up a little bit more. It rains in Ireland a lot. Yeah, it also rains here in Denmark a lot. So guys, see I have this kind of weird mesh here. You just go back in and click remesh once more, and then I should be able to work with it easier. Then, you know, we can add a chain if we want to. But that's maybe a little bit more complex. Try to make a simple chain then. So let's just try it. So I'll start with a torus here. And I kind of don't really, you know, if you have not followed the modeling streams, this will be hard to follow. But I can go into sculpting here. So if you follow the modeling streams, if this is your first time sculpting, you'll kind of see how the tools together can be useful. So I'll go into sculpting here and kind of make the shape of a chain link. But I'll do it fairly organically. Duplicate this out. Rotate it. Actually, I'll go more into sculpting. I'll go ahead and remesh it too, just to prove a point. Maybe something like that. See what that looks like. It looks fine. So now I'll go in my scrape brush here and kind of shape this little chain link out a little bit. Yeah, by using a curve, definitely. I'll use a curve for this tool, but I'll kind of show you all how you can sculpt and use the curve and all that together. So I'll just shape my chain link a little bit here. So I could have done this with the mirror or the symmetry on if I was smart. Okay, whatever, we got something kinda... fix the bottom too. Now we can take this little chain link. And it's very janky and uneven, but it's fine. We just call that a stylistic choice. Rotate it 90 degrees, move it out, join these together, and then we can click Shift A or just go to the Add menu, add a curve, Bezier curve. Now we can go to these guys. Search for curve. Boop. We can go array. So now they'll basically just follow this curve. Oops. We can move the curve around and then these will follow. And then we can add more links to our chain. Done. And then the offset, it's gotta be appropriate. So there we go. And now we have like a link with a sculpted chain, which is kind of cool. Accidentally turn my camera upside down. Okay, so we can just kind of place our curve however we want. So we can quickly sculpt something, like put it on a curve, array it out. Like, look how sort of flexible Blender is in that sense, that you can use all those tools together and you can use them very quickly. So if you click E, you can extrude more points from this curve. Then we can add more points to the array. There we go. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Maybe we can just hide the last one. Yeah, like that, it's fine. There we go. Bootcamp. Okay. So make the chain come to the same point in the middle. Might be a little bit better. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright. Let's see what else we can do to it. What's going on? So I'll just add like a floor, and then I'll add some lights and all that. See if we can't get a render out. I don't usually do this for the streams, but just for this one, because yeah. So you can go ahead and add maybe like a gold material. So if you click the last ball up here, the top right, you get the viewport but with lights in it now. So you can shift D to duplicate a light out. You can add materials down here, the little material ball. Now this is all outside of the usual kind of what we do on the sculpting streams. This is literally just because this is my last stream, so I kind of just want to get a little render out. So if you're not exactly following along on this part, don't worry too much about it. Okay. There we go. Alright. Oh, you're here now? You forgot the time? Damn. Well, don't worry, the stream will be uploaded on the YouTube, so you can always rewatch it. Turn on the music again. go. So I would recommend people, like, you don't have to take a picture right now of your object, but get ready for the idea of taking your screenshot, because there's not too long left of the stream. So I'll be looking at people's work at some point. So if you want to render fast, you gotta go to your preferences, system, and then turn on the GPU rendering. Then you can switch your render engine over here to cycles if you want that crisp ray traced render. Yeah, this is the last of me hosting, but there will be a stream again next week, like there always is, but it'll be hosted by Oliver instead, and he's also a great host, so I wouldn't be too sad about it. I'm sure it'll be fine. Is this rose gold working for us? Or should we go more with like a traditional gold? Could add a different material to the lettering here. If you want to hide the UI elements and all that before you take your screenshot, there's the show overlays button. You can disable that. You can just try to add a different material to them. Text. You could go for like a CADA orange. What about like a CADA black and orange? Or black and white, I guess, maybe. Or orange and white, what am I saying? That's pretty cool. to make it out of glass, yeah, you just had to add a glass material. So let's say I want this leaf to be made out of glass. You can change it right here to glass, BDSF. Oh, and now it's made out of glass. Change the roughness value here to make it super transparent. I can totally do that. I'm not crazy sold on this yet. Okay, I have an idea. What if we do one of these? Yeah, I think that's better. Alright people, I'm gonna take my screenshot now. It's a little bit noisy. I'll probably have to render this out all the way, which I don't really have time for. Let's see what we can do here. I think I'll just take my screenshot like this. Play a little bit with the backdrop here. So people, if you haven't already, go ahead in the 3D Bootcamp chat, post whatever it is that you have, so I will create an invite link for you all. Do join the server, post it, doesn't have to be finished or anything like that. It's just cool to join the community, post your stuff, I'll take a look at it here in a second and all that. If you don't know how to take a screenshot, way that I usually teach on the stream, of course you can render out a picture and all that, but an easy way is to just click Windows Shift S. It'll bring out the snippet tool on Windows, and you can now, just after you use that, Control V into the Discord chat and it'll just paste it in. Okay, and also search for it, it's called snippet or klippeverktøy in Danish. Okay, snippet, if you search for it, you can just click and drag anyone on your screen and then click Control plus V in the chat and paste it in as a picture. You could also go ahead and set up your camera. Could render out an image if I wanted to. Let me save before I crash. Just waiting for people to post their stuff in the chat and then I'll go click look at it in a minute. So this is kind of how a traditional render is. I click the render image button and then it just samples, and that'll take a while. If you want it to speed up, you should disable the render in the viewport here, and then this will go a lot faster. Take a sneak peek. Don't be scared, people, even if you're not finished, do post whatever it is that you've been working on in the chat. I'll be so happy to take a look at it. I went a little bit extra with the medallion for this stream just because it's my last, so. How did y'all find today's stream? Was it challenging trying to come up with a little medallion concept for yourself? I hope it wasn't too bad. I'll post this in the chat myself, and then I'll stick around for a couple more minutes to kind of look at what people have made. If y'all do post something, I guess it'll be kind of fun to go back and see some of the stuff that, like, it's hard, you know, this thing to kind of do something. Oh my god, we have to go back far. Like, this is not even that long ago. Still even further up. Tory Gate. This was almost, I think this was close to when I started, but not even. Still gotta go up. Yeah, this was one of my first streams. This is where we started. This was the kind of stuff we did. See if I can't find the first sculpting stream I did. Yeah, I think this is it. Yeah, this was the stuff, people posting in here. This was the one I did. This was one of the first streams we did together. I wonder how many of these people kept going with 3D and became amazing 3D artists. Hopefully a couple. This was everybody's beginnings. Yeah, it's been a lot of streams, a lot of cool stuff people did on stream. Yeah, so it just kind of happens to be the time where like next semester I'll be going out away from the school. I'll be doing my or an internship, so it'll just kind of be, it wouldn't be impossible for me to come back to the school every Wednesday, but it's just more convenient for a student, another student, to take over because they're already at the school. So I'll kind of pass on the torch to Oliver. It just happens to be that I won't be at the school that often next semester, so. Okay, I'll save this. Cool. Post that in the chat. I see people are posting a bunch of stuff. I'll take a look at it. Alright, so hope you all enjoyed today's stream. I really do. Here is what I did for the last bootcamp I will be hosting. Hope you all take good care of Oliver. He'll amazing host for sure. Okay, there we go. Let's take a look. Shall we? Okay, first of all, I fell behind trying to make a leg ring for this crow character I've been working on. First picture is my inspiration. I'm having a problem with making the feathers. I deselected the eyes, beak, legs before I start to add the hair on the particle edit, and it looks fine. But when I go to any other mode between object mode and texture paint, the beak and eyes look messy. Let's see. I must say I haven't experimented much with this kind of stuff. Oh, I wonder what's happening. So I'm guessing your particles get turned into something. Yeah, because it's like when you render, so these are probably just guides, right? And when you go into the render view, it will actually add a lot more fur on top of the guides. These are just guides. I think that's what's happening. I'm not 100% sure though. But I mean, hey, cool that you're doing something. It's not looking too bad, to be honest. So just gotta figure out what's happening here. So there might be settings for like the viewport and then the render. Okay, Ruben. It is kind of like a jewelry. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit confusing to look at, but not necessarily in a bad way. Like I'm kind of intrigued by it, by him, by whatever is going on here. It looks like two eyes, to be honest, and a little mouth. Could be a very interesting Star Wars character or something. I mean, good job for intriguing me, to be honest. It's kind of interesting to look at. Like, to be honest, I'm not gonna underestimate the fact that it is actually quite difficult to make a shape that's interesting to look at. And I think, you know, hey, if this is your first time using Blender and sculpting and all that, like it's a good, like, you're into it now, so that's kind of the whole purpose of the stream, just to introduce everybody. So I'll give yourself a pat on the back. So I'll give you a heart for that. Billy's 228, not bad for a first boot camp, I guess. That is very true. It is not bad for a first boot camp, that's for sure. Oh, you even got like some curved text on there and everything. And a little glass jewel in the middle. You got this like cord and everything. It's much more than I was expecting for a first boot camp. So I'll give yourself a pat on the back for that. That is very cool. I think it looks like you're probably using Eevee to render. If you want like more realistic results, you can go ahead, go up here to the render tab and then change to cycles. But good job on that. You get a big heart from me. It's very cool. Curve with the lucky 4-leaf clover. That is very cool. Very clear motive, and you got a nice chain on there. That's sick. Good job, Curve. Seen you on here a lot. I've seen you evolve. I hope you've been enjoying the boot camps while you've been doing them with me. And I hope you continue to grow as a 3D artist, because the world can always use more 3D artists. I need more posts on ArtStation to like. So happy you've been joining me for all these boot camps. Good job on that. Taravan. I think I've seen you around before too. Looks battered, but at least I got something going. Yeah, you got something going for sure. It almost looks like a Viking braid type thing. What's that called? Like this kind of stuff. like a Viking braided pattern or something. It's the first freelance project I ever did. I guess it doesn't really come. One of them was this kind of braiding for a collectible. It's very cool though. So good job on that. It definitely got something going. I hope you've been enjoying the boot camps too. And I also hope you continue to grow. That goes for all of you. Ninka, I see you're new here. I tried to have a little bear on it, but it looks weird. I think it looks super cute. You probably, so what you need to do is... Oops. Let me just save this real quick. So, what's happening is, yours is not smooth shaded, so if you click anything in layout, you can right click and click shade smooth, and that'll fix those artifacts for you. And other than that, you probably just need to lower your voxel size a little bit. So just lower this number a little bit and then click remesh again, and it'll enable you to get like finer details in there. But it looks super adorable. It's like a little bear with a, what's it called, like a angel kind of, it's called a halo on it, looks like to me. I think that's very adorable. So good job on that. Give yourself a pat on the back. A Celtic knot. Yeah, exactly. And this was mine. Then on. It was so much fun learning with you the past months. Thank you, Ono. All the best for you. Thank you very much. And I'm happy you learned the last few months because you ended up getting a super awesome result. That's cool, man. I like that. It's very awesome. Looks great. Got that wing motive, some kind of, that's very cool. I think that's a glass looking shader as well. I can't exactly tell if this is cycles or Eevee, but if it is Eevee, you could also try to switch to cycles. It looks very cool though right now. I'm happy you've been learning. Oh, you also did this one. I remember that one. That was also very nice. Good job on that. Pat on the back. I hope you continue to grow. Vision unknown, new here. Getting some kind of medallion going. And I think if it's your first time in Blender, your first time sculpting, it is a big step forward, you know. Beginning is a big part of the journey, so I'm happy you joined me. I hope you learned something about Blender and about sculpting. So we get a big heart for that one. Okay. Alright people. Alright. So that is going to be it for today's stream. That's going to be it for me. So the next time the stream goes live is gonna be next Wednesday, same time, same place, and it'll be Oliver hosting from then on out. So he might change up some stuff for better, and he'll probably talk to you all when the time comes about how the streams are gonna keep going. It'll probably be fairly similar to how it's been going, but I think he'll be a great host, so you should all join him next week for the stream. That's gonna be it for me, and I hope you all have a good rest of your evening, morning, midday, wherever you are in the world. And I hope you all continue to grow as 3D artists and as creatives, and I hope you all enjoy whatever is left of your journey. I hope it's gonna be long and prosperous and all that, and I hope you all are gonna make some very cool art in the future. So, see you everybody. Bye.